ask permission to permit these, or to let these comments be made before the vote, and I'll keep them brief.
Without objection.
Thank you. Yesterday, I spoke about a new law passed by the D.C. City Council. This law lowers penalties for crimes like carjacking and robbery. Thankfully, Congress is stepping in to stop this legislation. D.C., Washington here, should be an example of our American ideals. Sadly, it is becoming an example of the crime we're experiencing across the country in our larger cities. Chicago, Midwest, new records broken in the wrong way each week. New York, even places like my state capital, Indianapolis. It should be a wake-up call to crack down, and yet city governments keep going the other way. The first priority of any government should be the safety of its citizens, especially at the local level where you live each day. We know a big part of this is not about the laws we have. We have a lot of laws on the books. They're not enforced. In my state capital of Indianapolis, have a prosecutor that will not enforce those laws. And even in the heart of our country, the Midwest, you have the same issue. I guess the most disturbing part of all of this is the hatred for our police. They place their safety in hazard to protect ours. Too often, they pay the ultimate price in doing so. Indiana has lost several officers in the line of duty in the last 2 years, like Terre Haute Officer Greg Ferenczi and Richmond Officer Sierra Burton. I'd like to say a few words about Elwood Police Officer Noah Chavez, who was killed in the line of duty last year in a little town in Indiana. He's only 24 years old. He was shot during a routine traffic stop by a violent career criminal who should have been behind bars. His parents, Laurie and Matt, remembered their son to my office with these words: "All that Noah ever wanted to do is help others." Society has been robbed of the many positive impacts he would have had on our world. When a police officer is killed in the line of duty, it sends a shockwave through the community, and it's happening in far too many places. I decided after his death that I wanted to take the lead in reintroducing the Thin Blue Line Act. This bill would make targeting police officers an aggravating factor in favor of the maximum sentence. It's already passed through the House of Representatives once before. We need to do it again in this Congress and get it through the Senate as well. Supporting our police shouldn't be a partisan issue. This law wouldn't apply in every case, but it would make criminals think twice before targeting our police. We have to do everything we can to protect those who protect us. The one thing we can do to fight back against crime is to support those on the front line. We need to give them the resources they need and send a clear message to those who wish to do them harm. If you target a police officer, you're going to pay the highest price possible. We need to get that done. I want to comment on one other thing. We lost a Hoosier recently who spent 7 years fighting ALS. I was proud here, along with Senator Coons, to start the ALS caucus. It is one of those diseases, when you're diagnosed with it, it's not a very good prognosis. 3 to 4 years, maybe sometimes. Corey Poland from Indiana was able to stretch it out to 7 years and fought valiantly along the way, was involved in trying to take his cause and help others. Currently, there is no cure. There is severely limited access to treatment options, And since I've been here, I've been trying to reform healthcare in general, and that is a task when you got one side of the aisle that doesn't think there's anything interested or anything to do there, interested in it. The other side maybe wanting to do more government, where I think we need to reform it in an underlying way, make it more transparent, more competitive, remove barriers to entry so that you've got doctors and nurses wanting to come into the profession. But let's take this common sense part of it. This is, along with several other diseases, to where once you're diagnosed, you do not have time. And you're beset by a cumbersome process that keeps people from getting into it and even staying in treatment. We need to fix that to where, through the Promising Pathways Act that I've had out there gaining stride, we need to make an exception for those ailments that have treatments in progress and where the individuals suffering from them are willing to take the risk, because they want to do that because there's no other option, especially when there are promising treatments that you're working with. In Corey's case, his journey began in October 2015. He was hiking with his wife, Jennifer, in Arizona, and on that, he kind of hurt his ankle and noticed more. He was then returning to his hometown and wanted to look into it further. That's when he got that bleak diagnosis. And all along the journey, as his condition was getting worse, he was out there to help others with it. And his main goal for us here in Congress was to get something like the Promising Pathways Act across the finish line that would give hope to him and all the others, and with similar diseases, that are frustrated by the fact that we can't move quickly enough, especially when there's stuff in the works that looks like it's going to be someday, if not a cure, at least to mitigate the disease. We weren't able to get that done. This is something I would ask my fellow senators and someone else in the House to carry it. We need to get this across the finish line. Panel of FDA advisors voted 7-2 that there was enough evidence to do something different. And that gave hope to people like Corey and others that something would get done. But it hasn't happened, and we've got this under our own control to get it done. It's well past time to get it done. I've been here going on now into my 5th year, and we've been dragging our feet. I'm going to roll up my sleeves to get it done. We're going to keep pursuing this effort through our ALS caucus. Senator Coons and I have done it, and we've made headway. But why wouldn't we, when we've been dawdling with this issue for so long, not give the benefit of the doubt to treatments that are promising and get it across the finish line for these individuals that have no other hope but us to get it done? Madam President, I yield the floor.